Welcome to the Football.com End Around Show. We're here week 2, Thursday Night Football, Ravens and the Steelers. And I've got the one and only Joe Scumaci here with us from Football.com and 2013 Football.com Writer of the Year, TJ Hatter. Welcome, guys. TJ, you've got the tech issues, so we don't want to lose you. We're going to get right into it, and I think that we'd be remiss if we don't start with Ray Rice. So why don't you just take us up to speed here, and I'm sure you've got some unique opinions on the whole Ray Rice video fiasco.
Sure, and first of all, to the people who are watching, sorry for being late. I had purchased a $330 Google Chrome laptop with a computer in it, with a really big camera so that I could do these hangouts so it wouldn't be a problem. And the damn thing didn't work for 45 friggin' minutes, which is why we're late. So I apologize. I hate this laptop almost as much as I hate this story, Ray Rice, Roger Goodell, and the fact that we have to talk about it in the detail that we have. What has come out well from this story is the internet, because whether it was TMZ or Gawker's kick-ass coverage or SB Nation's really good coverage, we have learned a lot in the past couple of weeks and days especially, and have had an adult conversation in this country, which is hard to have, about domestic violence. And so for whatever stupid and assish things that Ray Rice has done, he's at least sparked this conversation. The conversation was sparked by a video, because there's 2 other instances of domestic abuse that are floating around right now that nobody can talk about, nobody can name them. Joe can name them, but nobody else can name who else is guilty here. But the fact of the matter is, it's because of this video. And I want to say 2 things. And Joe and I did 2 People Arguing, our new podcast here at Football.com earlier on Tuesday. We touched on this. I'm going to hit on it again. This is because of the video. And number 2, Roger Goodell is taking major flack right now. He is Richard Nixoning right now, which is hard to do. But the fact of the matter is, you know who should be most angry at? Internet, the prosecutors. They had access to that video. We can argue whether Goodell had access to it so the cows come home. They had access, and they didn't go all the way, and they could have. That's where your anger should be. Fire at Goodell all you want. I don't care. But make sure you get those guys next.
Well, that's a really interesting point, TJ. Joe, I want you to finish that thought. Why do you think that the prosecutors came up so lame here?
I'm not really sure, Evan. I wish I knew. I wish they looked into this more. I mean, the whole aspect of the Atlantic City casino, and now that they're shut down, and it's a big onion, Evan, isn't it? You just keep peeling away layers and layers, and to quote George Costanza, the closer you get, it stinks, and we're finding out something new each day with now with Roger Goodell, and we heard today that possibly Ray Rice did tell Roger Goodell back in June that he did hit his then fiancee Janae Parker, now Janae Rice, and if so, then there's so many people here whose jobs, they just proved negligent. They didn't pay attention to the facts. It looks like someone's trying to brush this under the rug. Those 2 other people TJ mentioned earlier, Greg Hardy, Ray McDonald of the San Francisco 49ers and Carolina Panthers, they have domestic violence cases against them also. We're not talking about those, Evan. We're not, because there's not video. If there was video that was as horrific, as brutal, and incriminating as we saw in the elevator in the casino, we'd be talking about it just as much, but it's the video that TMZ leaked, and hats off to them. A lot of people don't agree with what they do. It can be a little dirty sometimes, and people disagree with it, but hey, they got it, and they showed it to everybody, and now it's public, and it's an outcry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really concerned with how they got it or who broadcast it, but the fact of the matter is, to get that tape and to put it out there is excellent journalism. And the
Excellent.
fact, I mean, it's the only smoking gun we've ever had in a case like this. And we were all saying, those of us with common sense, you guys are obviously included in that, and Eric Wickstrom wrote a great column the day that the 2-game suspension was issued on Football.com, and he wrote that NFL just does not care about women. And we knew then that he knocked out his fiancée. But now we've got a video showing him doing that. So it becomes that much worse. I really don't want to waste too much time on Ray Rice. Those idiots at the game tonight wearing his jersey and supporting him. It's a little bit sickening. But we just had to stop. We had to start there. But let's talk about. I mean, you guys' podcast this week I thought was awesome.
Thank you.
It was really
Scumaci. It's all Scumaci.
You guys are. You guys are obviously really good together, but I want to give that some publicity here. TJ, you're the mastermind behind this thing, I think. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the podcast and where people can see it?
Sure. Well, it's going to be Tuesday nights, and Joe deserves a lot of the credit for this. I mean, I had the drunken idea one day that he and I should do a podcast together because we were pretty good together on one of the ones I subbed in for with him that he was doing previously. But we were breaking it up. Joe and I actually just had a very, very formal business meeting where we decided we were going to break it up into 4 segments. I'll let Joe talk about the 4 segments that they are. One of them is the locker room, where we talk about our personal lives a little bit. But it's a lot of fun. It's Tuesdays. It's 9:30 till, I think we're decided 90 minutes now, Joe, because the 60 minutes we ran out of time at the end. We're like, oh my God, we still have things to talk about. So it'll be 90 minutes. We'll be tweeting it out like crack addicts. So if you follow us on Twitter at TJ22Hatter and Joe Scrimacci at JSUM13, you'll find it there. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it. If we get a following, we'll probably take some callers. And shout out Eric Wickerstrom. That guy killed it this summer. That Dungy column was great. The Ray Rice column was great. I mean, I was writing every day, and every once in a while I click over and be like, that son of a bitch, that was way better than what I just put up there. So shout out. There was some really good work by Football.com this summer.
Yeah, I agree. I think we were doing some pretty special things. But, Joe, you're a special guy. You had some special luck with doing the predictions last week. So what were you, 10-6 in week 1?
10-6 against the spread. If you followed, as TJ likes to call me, Joe the Casino Scrimacci.
Casino Joe, baby.
Yeah, Casino Joe. Got a little lucky. If you want to play a little coin, I don't condone gambling. Let's just say that. I've gone down that road before. If you want to follow along with the picks, we were a little hot week 1, 10-6. Started bad with Green Bay, closed hard, swept the Monday night slate. Against the spread. We're going to try and do the same thing week 2 and see if we can bounce back with a big Sunday night and Monday night. We're going to talk about that on the podcast as well as a little bit of gambling lines and whatnot. You know, as TJ mentioned, 4 parts. We're really a big story, and the obvious one this week, Evan, as we just opened up with, was the Ray Rice fiasco that's going on. Then we're going to talk about who impressed you most. For instance, week 1, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. The Minnesota Vikings were impressive. Who was disappointing? Everybody has a disappointing week. The Dallas Cowboys, as we all know. For example, the St. Louis Rams, they're bad karma. They look like they're headed for 1-15, 2-14. And then, a little self-deprecation. We might make fun of ourselves a little bit when it comes to inside the locker room. Talk about each other's, personal lives. I know TJ's got a little bit on a radio show coming up this weekend, and we like to make fun of me procrastinating on my upcoming wedding. But all jokes aside,
like tomato.
Yeah, that too. All jokes aside, I think it's going to be really fun.
What happened to you, TJ?
Well, I went to it was in one of the Homer's guides. I wrote about going to the U.S. Open last Saturday.
Oh, right. This is the sunburn.
And it just hasn't left me. I'm like taking medication. I'm a mess. I'm just a mess. It doesn't help that I drink like a fish and I'm Irish, and so I should be in a bog in Scotland or Ireland on top of it. I shouldn't be out in the sun at all. But yeah, I look like a walking tomato can with blonde hair.
What, were you wearing goggles or something?
Yeah, it looks like I did. I didn't have sunglasses on. I didn't have anything. I had SPF 9 billion on there, but it doesn't help when you're in Queens in the sun for 9 friggin' hours. So this is what happens. It sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not meant to be outside.
Enough about the two of you. I want to do, actually, this next thing, it's a synergy. The two things that you guys both do. TJ, your field guide with the haves, and the have to watch, the hate watch. And Joe, your picks. What I want to do is mash all that up right now, and we're going to go through TJ's. We'll start with tonight's game because it's still going on, so we can talk about that. Who do you guys like tonight? And just give me a couple throughout the weekend games that you're especially looking forward to. And Joe, how you think that those games are going to wind up. So TJ, take it away, my man.
Sure. All right. I'll start with tonight. I'm not watching in protest. It's the only thing we can do.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
not watching in protest.
Nice.
I'm not. I'm gonna after I hang out with you two guys, and it's my pleasure and it's been my honor for almost a year now to spend my time with you guys on these nights. I'm done. I'm gonna put on some music. I'm gonna listen to Tub Low, who I give a shout out to. You guys are gonna hear. No, I'm serious. This is the European Katy Perry. You guys are gonna hear these songs and you're gonna go, "How did you pick up on this so soon?" It's gonna be crazy. Tub Low. That's the rest of my night.
Just a little something on the music. I thought the music was a little weird, TJ, but...
Oh, but listen, Woo Girls, man. It's all about Woo Girls. They're going to love that. That's going to be everywhere. The amount of people twerking to that is going to break a record. I'm telling you.
All right. I'll trust you on that. So, all right, well, that's a good move. I think that's great. I'm going to turn the game off. Joe, turn the game off. Forget it, forget those guys. That's great. We're protesting and we're hanging out. So we're skipping past tonight's game. We don't care, although I'd like Le'Veon Bell to have a nice game for fantasy. But TJ, who are the give me a hate watch for this week.
Oh, it's the Patriots game. It's 100% the Patriots game, and it's the Patriots game because everybody's going to say, wow, Minnesota looked good this week. New England didn't look good. Maybe they'll start 0-2. And they're not. Minnesota played a JV team with a quarterback who's a ficus plant. And the Rams are under 3 wins for the season. And New England played a tough team in Miami and fell apart in the second half because of a part of the weather and also because Brady got sacked a ton of times. They're going to go into Minnesota, they're going to win, and everybody's going to be mad because they were hoping they would lose. That's the hate watch game. You're going to watch it and you're going to hate yourself for believing that they're going to lose.
So the season's not over for the Patriots. They have a chance to salvage the season.
Yeah, because Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
For the sake of debate, I'm going to take the two people arguing here, and I'm going to go on the other side. Minnesota's a field goal underdog at home. I tend to like them and think it's going to be a close game, Evan. There's some storylines here. Matt Castle used to play for the Patriots. Was booted out the door after his 1 year of good justice. He might want to extract some revenge. The Patriots just gave up 190 yards on the ground. So what running back do they face now? A walk-in Hall of Famer and Adrian Peterson. Cordell Patterson presents a problem every single time he gets the ball in his hands. Minnesota's going to get it in his hands. They're really improved defensively as the head coach Mike Zimmer has a defensive background. TJ's right. I do think the Patriots probably win this game, but I'm not ready to write off Minnesota. I wish it was in a dome because the speed would favor Minnesota, but I believe they play outside this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, as their new stadium's being built. So a field goal favorite. If it goes up to 3.5, I like Minnesota at home.
There's Joe giving you the line. See, that's where he's coming in here. I like it.
You know me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's solid. I don't know. Do you put if you're the Patriots, are you putting Revis on Patterson, or are you going to try to cancel somebody else out there, TJ?
I think you take away the long ball, and then the offense becomes one-dimensional, and you do the best you can to make sure Peterson doesn't kill you. That would be my guess. But Bill Belichick will probably have some exotic blitz screen that I can't even comprehend, and Matt Castle will wind up on his back 10 times because Bill Belichick knows exactly where his weak spots are because Bill Belichick is a sociopath and a genius.
I don't know. I'm going to be watching that for Patterson. I don't know if I should start him or sit him. But TJ, give me a start him. Yeah.
He's just a stud, and they get him the ball. Even if they can't throw it to him, they'll run it to him, start him.
Okay, Joe, that one's on you.
I'll take this one.
All right.
Mike Wallace had 7 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown, and it could have been much more, and that was on Darrelle Revis. So, I'm just interested to see what they do to get Patterson the ball. And if they can't throw it to him, he had 3 rushes last week for 105 yards. He broke the big one, but still, they want to commit it to him.
Yeah, Joe's got a point there.
No, Joe always has a point.
That's true.
Try, man, I try.
TJ, give me a must-watch.
You know what? I put it as a half-watch, and the more I think about it, I want to see that Seattle-San Diego game. I really do. I put it as a half-watch because I figure Seattle's going to win. But San Diego they win games they shouldn't. Doesn't matter whether it's the playoffs, doesn't matter whether it's a regular season. They just win games they shouldn't. They always do that. They've done that ever since Rivers has come aboard. Didn't matter who the coach was, whether it was Norv, well, especially Norv, because Marty, they'd win all the games and then they'd lose in the playoffs to, like, the Jets or somebody. They always hacky sack their way in. They win games they shouldn't. So this would be a chance for them to do something like that. I also like Philly and Indianapolis. I think that's going to be really fun on Monday night. Points. And, that Atlanta game, that's another one where it's going to be a score fest. So I had a lot of have-to-watch games this week because it's early in the season and just they're fun. It's a lot of fun this time of year.
You mentioned Atlanta. Did you guys watch Hard Knocks this summer on HBO?
Caught a few.
I didn't because I thought that they were boring, and all the reports I got back confirmed my suspicions.
Yeah.
They were so boring. They were just like, and they're
Matt Ryan's
the
boring.
Falcons. They're just completely unlikable. Also,
right.
I just didn't.
Mike Smith is never happy.
Yeah, but they're just their players. I thought they were hamming it up to the camera. It was basically hanging out on the practice field, and they knew the cameras were there, and they were trying to be funny. And it just
that's the point, right? They're trying to get endorsement calls out of it if they're going to have the cameras there, right?
Yeah, I guess. But you got to do it right. Otherwise, it just looks so manufactured and. I don't know. I just
Cromartie and announce that you don't remember how many kids you have.
Oh God, that's the Hard Knocks moment of all time.
Yeah, that's the hardest Knocks moment. Knocks.
That was a great season, though. You had like Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan's great. Oh, he's the great. They should do that every year.
Yep.
Right. I mean, some of the old Cowboys ones were good when they some of the practical jokes, but I don't know. I just found the Falcons to be completely unlikable. But I don't know. That actually brings me to. I just want a quick interlude here. We were talking about Ray Rice, and Goodell was asked this week if the NFL has a domestic abuse problem. And I think that the Ray Rices of the NFL are a small percentage, but then there's a small percentage of really good guys in the NFL, but the vast majority are boring, just general. I don't know. They're just regular dudes, like the Atlanta Falcons pretty much were, and they're just not interesting, and they're just regular football players. So, I think that's what the majority of the NFL is.
Evan, can I just cut in for a second? Clay Travis said this, and I was thinking this at the time, and I think Joe and I sort of danced around this at the podcast, but I didn't explore it further enough. Yeah, the NFL has a domestic abuse problem because America has a domestic abuse problem. Yeah. We're terrible. Yeah. And the NFL is a reflection of that. And I think Clay Travis has statistics that, actually NFL players abuse less than the rest of us normal schlubs. I mean, if anything is going to come of this, I mean, we can pillarize the Ginger Hammer all we want because he's a bloviating jackass and he makes a lot of money. That's fine. Do that if you want to do that. What we actually should do out of this is have an honest conversation that this is happening and how do we fix it? Is there a way we can fix it as a society, governmental program, something? Because for God's sakes, this is happening, and it's happening to people who aren't just dating football players. It's happening to people who are dating people in your damn neighborhood. So we should do something about that. End of rant.
All right.
That's pretty damn good. I mean, I'll try and follow that, Evan, but to a lesser extent, and not so much, this is not physical abuse, domestic abuse, but it always gets overlooked, and you see small little blogs, small little blippets about this, but the cheerleaders of these teams, I constantly see how underpaid they are, how underappreciated they are, how they have to travel, they have to go to these golf tournaments and do all these things, and when it comes out to their hourly wages, it's like $1 an hour or something. They're so underappreciated. It's definitely not physical abuse, but it's financial abuse the way they're treated. And great, they get put on the calendars and they sit there with the pom-poms and everybody looks up to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and all that. But what do they really get? And they're obviously being treated wrong.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of bylaws and stuff. Deadspin did lots of good work on this over the summer of things that they have to do and like minute and perverse almost regulations in terms of their personal lives and hygiene and stuff. Yeah, NFL, how about we take that up? How about that be a spin-off of this that you launch a committee into? Thanks. Good one, Joe.
Hit it hard, TJ.
I don't understand why there are cheerleaders at all. I mean,
I agree with that too. I mean, we don't need them, do we?
We're all football fans here. I'm not watching the game, and I don't know any women or any men who are watching the game because there's cheerleaders on the field.
Right.
I don't know. I don't understand what the whole attraction to that is. And
really, that 5
I mean, I understand, but really. I mean, what kind of sick degenerate is sitting there watching football on Sunday afternoon and like ogling the cheerleaders from their
couch? How about the entire male population of the United States of America? I mean,
maybe you, TJ.
Well, no, I could do without it. I couldn't care less.
Right.
But
Would you miss
the honey? Most famously, this is a innovation from Monday Night Football back in the '70s. The director his name was Chet. I want to say Simmons. He coined something called the honey shot, where he'd find a girl in the crowd or a cheerleader or something, and that would be. And you still see it today, coming back from break after a touchdown.
Going to break, right?
And that's when you see them. That's why they're there. Listen, could I do without them? Sure, because I watch the Red Zone. I could do. I don't want to watch commercials and coming back in and out altogether. But that's why they're there, and you can't say that they don't generate money because they certainly do. Because this is the NFL. If they didn't, they'd cut them.
I don't. What kind of money are the cheerleaders making for the NFL? I don't
sell calendars, dude.
Oh, who's buying? Who? I don't know anybody that has a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader calendar.
Kevin William Hatter, my younger brother, when he was 10 to like 17, and that's just one.
He's a maniac too. The only reason I watch is for the violence.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Rant. So, all right, that's enough of my rant. Give me another game this weekend that you got to watch, TJ.
Oh, good one, Gracie. You know what? There are a lot. I mean, did we talk about Miami and Buffalo? Because Miami and Buffalo, did Miami just get good? Is Buffalo good? Is that actually happening right now? Is that actually something that could happen? So, I mean, for the novelty factor, I'm sort of engaged in that. And by the way, we said it on the podcast, but shout out Buffalo, shiny new owners from Rochester, New York. They're going to keep the team in Buffalo. So all of New York, north of the Tappan Zee Bridge, relax. Congratulations. So That's one. That's one to watch, because when was the last time you saw that game and it wasn't Marino and Kelly and you thought, hey, I should watch that game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't think that those teams are any good yet, but they might be close. You never know. I mean, they're not going to be bad forever. So we'll see this week. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to that Monday night game, Indianapolis and Philly. That's going to be a really fun one to watch.
Evan, I'll give you another one because you're sort of fishing here. Chicago, San Francisco.
Yeah, Sunday night game.
Chicago, what are you doing? It's week 1, you're a trendy Super Bowl pick, and you're losing to the Bills in overtime. What the hell are you doing here? And San Francisco, now it's time for you to go up against a real offense because Jay Cutler can sling it, and those 2 wide receivers are monsters. So you managed to enjoy the fruits of Tony Romo being Tony Romo. Now let's see what you do against the real offense. So there you go. That's where your eyeball should be.
All right.
And Evan, one more. I mean, I gotta point this out because I just want to throw a little salt in the wound. I mean, look how far we've come. Last year, we had Josh Grossman on these hangouts talking about how Kansas City can possibly win the Super Bowl. I told him they play nobody. I told him that team's hot garbage. They got one player. Their quarterback's not that great. They played a soft schedule. Evan, they're going into week 2 in Denver. They're a 2-touchdown underdog. Vegas knows they can't play with Denver. Vegas knows they weren't as good of a team as they were last year. So, oh, how the mighty have fallen. I think that team started 9-0, finished, I want to say, 10-6. Gave up 50 in the playoff game to Indianapolis, was blown out last week at home against Tennessee, and now they're going to get blown out again against Denver. So, I mean, how quickly Kansas City's gone from what we thought was, hey, this team's turning around from 2-14 in 2012 to right back to where they probably belong.
6-10. And I called it, and I'm a jerk for pointing it out, and I don't care.
You're not a jerk. Kansas City Chiefs, they're jerks.
Sure,
yeah, I'm not with you on the Chiefs either. I think that they're definitely last week's loss was crushing at home against Tennessee, who I don't think is very good either. But I went on a podcast. I went on one of these shows last year, also around this time, and I said that the St. Louis Rams were going to win the NFC West. So. Yeah, some of us are wrong sometimes. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's not your fault. You were relying on karma to be good, and karma doesn't exist, as we know from St. Louis Rams being the litmus test.
Exactly. So today is, I just wanted to talk about this for a little while. Today is September 11th. Obviously, it's a somber day. I'm curious where you guys were on September 11th, 2001. So start with you, Joe. Where were you that day?
Oh, 7th grade health class. You know, and a lot of people I've talked about, Evan, over the years about where were you during that time. So many people were in school, like around my age and stuff, and they were watching on TV or got some kind of broadcast going on. We really didn't get that. I can vividly remember we didn't get it. We got a sheet passed out, and I didn't even know what the word hijack meant at that time. So I'm asking all sorts of questions. I don't know what's going on. They didn't let us know till what? I think it was 1 or 2 o'clock, the last period of the day. So by that time, you know, the devastation in New York City had already all but happened. I get home. Both my parents are home from work, and it's just a big chaos trying to explain what's going on. So I was in 7th grade health class, middle school at the time, and it's a moment in my life I know you guys and I will never forget.
So they didn't have it on TV or anything?
No. Shocking. I mean,
wow.
They really did. I don't know if they wanted to maybe keep, you know, it was a 6 through 8 school, if they wanted to keep a lot of the students, you know, calm and not, you know, freaking out of what's really going on. Could this happen where we are right now? Is this a nation thing or just a really local thing in New York City? And all we got was a sheet of paper saying 2 planes have been hijacked. There's been a terrorist attack. The buses are going to take you straight home, and that's really it. But I remember when we found out, there was a lot of panic, you know, until I got home and was reassured, hey, what's going on? And it was just pure devastation.
Wow. TJ, where were you?
It was my freshman year of college. I grew up on Long Island, New York, where I currently reside as well. And I was in Oswego, New York, which is just north of Syracuse. So it was the farthest I'd ever lived away from New York City, where I used to go in every weekend and go see Jets games. Even though they played in New Jersey, you had to go to the Port Authority and go in at Penn Station. So, it's very easy for a Long Island kid if they've got a couple bucks to go into New York City whenever they want. I used to. And my TV was my alarm, and it went off, and it was on the Today Show because I'd been watching Late Night with Conan O'Brien the night before, and saw the planes crash, and it was the first one. And I was half awake, and it didn't make any sense to me, and we all thought it was an accident because it was the first one, and we didn't know what the story was. And got up and found the second one and went off to my first class of the day. It was leadership in action because I was deemed to be a jerk even then and a leader and all that normal stuff. And walked into the room and I said, the class is over. and put on CNN. And the teachers respected me because I was a loudmouth even back then, and they did it. And we watched the building fall down together on CNN with Aaron Brown narrating.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I was in Lake Placid actually, at the site of the this country's greatest sports trial.
1980, the miracle.
Yeah, it was the first day of Islanders training camp at Lake Placid, so I was up there, and somebody came in. Peter Body came a little bit late to practice and said that a plane. He was glued to the TV. A plane had gone into one of the towers, and everybody thought it was, like you said, TJ, a little plane, like a little Cessna or something like that.
Right.
And then obviously, the live news was on already, and it obviously turned out to be something a lot more than that. So interesting. We were in three different stages of life there: high school, college, and out in the real world. So I don't know. It's always interesting to talk about where we were, and for a big event like that. But
did either of you guys lose anybody?
No.
Did not.
Thank God. How about you?
I had a family friend. A friend of my grandfather. He worked for one of the companies in the building in Tower 2.
Huh.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, with that many people and New York City being such a, like a national area, it's just a matter of odds that you're going to know somebody that was affected. And I know people that had, family members, not close friends and stuff, but it's just such a tragedy. And I love the way sports handled it back then. I mean, I remember baseball obviously was in season, and football too. And I remember the chaos of, that we're going to cancel games and stuff like that. Should they even play the season? It was just everything shut down. It stopped. It was more important than anything like that.
Yeah,
I remember Letterman saying he wasn't sure if they should even have a show anymore, which is sort of incomprehensible now in retrospect, but at the time it felt right.
Yeah, I mean, it was everybody was so shocked, and it was, I think, sports that brought us all together. I was living in New York at the time. I was a big Mets fan. I remember Mike Piazza hitting a home run against.
Just watched on Twitter. I just watched that exact home run on Twitter about 10 minutes ago. It was great.
Yeah, and not 6 weeks later was the Jeter flip play and the run to the World Series, which, even though they didn't win, was the most miraculous run I've ever seen.
No, yeah, I mean, that was sports where we came back to, whether, it was baseball, and then obviously football was big, and singing the national anthem at games. So I don't know, everybody was pretty together then, and sports was a big connector for us and a healing agent. And then we sort of fast forward to where we are today and this week, and sports don't look too good right now, especially football. So let's continue to take it for what it is, and it's an entertainment and a release for us. And these guys aren't curing cancer; they're just football players, and they're not all great guys, and they're not all bad guys, but sports definitely serves a purpose. So I guess we can leave it there. I don't want to be a downer or anything, but
well, hang on. We can't just leave it there because we got to talk about you.
We don't talk about me on this show.
We
talk about you, TJ.
Come on, man. All right. I'm doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Evan Grossman's last time hosting the End Around show. He's brilliant at it. I have no idea how we'll survive without him because he's a fantastic host.
We can't make it.
He's going on to really, really great things. Evan, I remember the first time you and I chatted. This is October of last year, and you recruited me to come into Football.com because you'd like some of the things I've done at other websites. It's the best decision I've made. You've been such a tremendous person to work with. I love you both personally and professionally, and I can't wait to work with you again.
I'm blushing, TJ. Thanks very much for that. Well, I guess do you have anything nice to say about me, Joe?
Of course, Evan. I remember when we first did this thing, we couldn't get the tech issues. I missed the first one. I was like, oh, man, he's going to fire me. He's not going to have me on anymore. Sent an email, sorry, I didn't make it, the tech issues, and then we figured it out, and it's been nothing but a blast since, writing, doing videos. I looked forward to these hangouts, just a brutal day at work on a Wednesday or Thursday and coming in with TJ and yourself, Evan, Josh, and Daniels, and the guys we've had on the hangout and doing these kind of things are fun. We do them from different. I'm in North Carolina, you guys in the Northeast, and brings us all together. We all talk. We talk smack at fantasy football. Shoot the what, and it's just been blast. I'm gonna miss these things, and Evan, I wish you the best, man.
Yeah, thank you. Well, maybe we'll be doing them on ESPN one day. Who knows?
Oh God, I'm in.
Yeah.
Bristol's cold though in the winter.
Or like
I just need a
cable
really good makeup person. They can turn me into orange like Kornheiser. I don't care. Just get the red out.
like Pinkalicious, TJ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. It's been a blast. Enjoy. If you're not boycotting, we are. So we're done watching football for the night. We'll just we'll hit refresh on our fantasy football websites.
Yep.
But enjoy the games this week, and thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you down the road a bit.
Thanks as always, Evan.
Thanks,
All
Evan.
right. Take care, guys. See everybody.